Hey everybody, it's time for another Slayer update. I'm in Act 1 Legendary now, and I've been farming Hydra to get geared up for the rest of the game. Let's take a look at where our attributes are and our skills, and then we'll talk about the build a little bit. I'm still spending the 1 point strength, 1 point dexterity. I put a total of 3 or 4 into energy. I want to say 4 because I have an even number of points. It was to the point, my energy pool was so low that I couldn't even get off Call the Hunt, Battle Standard, and Ancestral Horn without having to drink a potion in between. So I really had to get that pool up bigger. You could go with items. Like I make sure I get some Hecate's Crescents, at least one, but that still wasn't getting my energy pool where I wanted. And I don't think putting 4 attribute points in energy is going to hurt anything. I still have plenty of strength and dexterity. My dexterity, my defensive ability is over 1,000. That's high enough to finish the game. Offensive ability is a little low, but because of all the ways I have to lower defensive ability, I'm still getting a lot of critical hits. No problems there. So let's look at the skills. I've just kind of been filling out what I have. I haven't gotten any new skills. And I'm +4 on Warfare. So I still just have the 1 point in Battle Rage, 1 point in Crushing Blow. I don't even care about Counterattack. And Dodge Attacks is maxed out, 30% chance to dodge. Battle Standard, I'm at 8 on both parts of it, and that's pretty effective right now where it is. I'll probably bring it up more, but right now it does everything I need it to do. Onslaught's almost maxed out. I don't have Hamstring filled out yet, but I don't have as much of a priority on that part of it as some of the others. I've been bringing up Warwind, and that's not quite maxed out yet, but it's doing really good damage. The problem is it misses a lot. It's bugged, and I think the developers know about it because it's been brought up on the Steam forum several times, but there's no signs of it getting fixed anytime soon. 1 point in the Ancestral Horn, so I'm at 5 with the items, and that's fairly effective. I don't even use it that often, only against bosses, or if I need some kind of a distraction. Alright, over to hunting. Maxed out on Study Prey. This is really effective, getting that physical and pierce resistant down. And you'll see, I'm going to do a Hydra run here, and you'll see he goes down so fast, and it's mostly because of this. And the second part of it, lowering more defensive ability, bleeding resistance, elemental, which doesn't affect me. Call the Hunt, I've been bringing up. That's a nice damage boost when you kick it in, and it can be used fairly frequently. Takedown, I'm at 8 points there. Now a lot of that's from gear though, and that isn't really, I like it for the speed, but that can miss just like Warwind can miss, and the damage it does on that one hit really isn't as high as you might think it should be, but it still has some use. Gouge, I still only have 1 point there. I think I must be +5 on hunting. And Volley, I'm maxed out on Volley, so that's 20% chance to be used now. Art of the Hunt, I'm trying to get maxed. Well, I have the base skill maxed. So 60% bleeding, 115% pierce damage, so it's giving me a nice damage boost. Find cover, so 35% chance to avoid projectiles, and I only have the 1 point in Trailblazing. I have maxed out Woodlore, nice defensive ability and attack speed. I'm maxed on Herbal Remedy, and really I want that. It's 100% poison resistant, so that's why I have that. And I have a couple points in Monster Lure. And I don't need that as much now, but there's still some situations. Like when I first got to Hydra and I wasn't geared properly for him, I could throw out a Monster Lure and he'd go after that, so I wouldn't get hit with one of his opening attacks. So that would kind of save me there. Now I don't really need it there. I can throw out the Ancestral Warriors. But sometimes I still throw it down just as a distraction if I'm not ready yet. Okay, so let's take a look at some gear, and a lot of the stuff I'm wearing now came from Hydra. These boots, Athena's Battle Greaves, these are really nice. I wish the armor was a little bit higher on them, but You can't argue with the rest of the stats. Some good resistances, physical damage, movement speed, health, defensive ability. There aren't too many better pairs in the game. Penumbra plate. This is decent. There are better for sure for this build, but they're just not dropping for me, so I'm taking what I have. But it's still pretty nice. Got some pierce damage, the skill point in hunting, the increased projectile speed doesn't affect me. I'm not using a bow. But some dexterity on there. It's pretty nice. I'm still using this shield, although I also have Hades Apis. This dropped like 3 times already, but I switch out to that for the vitality resistance. I have Forko's Trident, 1 to all skills, and this is a pretty decent spear. It's got some good attack speed. There are better spears for sure, but this is pretty nice. My alternate spear is Ares Wrath, and this isn't so great, but until I get another backup spear, it's going to have to do. Hunter's Helm. This is decent even though it's epic. I'd really like to get the Tracker's Helm, but this has the 53% pierce damage and the minus 23% recharge. So because of that, I really like it, although it's even better on the Trackers. You get, I think, 100% pierce damage and minus 35% recharge, so that's something I'll be looking for. I picked up a Myrmidon's pendant here from Hydra, and that has a lot of resists on it and 38% physical damage. And if you look at my damage per second, that's giving me like 500 damage per second from that, so that's pretty nice. Not quite as much as you'd get from like a pendant of Immortal Rage, but not bad. And you got resistances too. I got lucky farming Stonebinder's cuffs, and I couldn't find them in Epic, but I got a really nice pair this time in Legendary. They're of the Guile, and I think they're also, they have armor on there also, so I think they're staunch Stonebinder's cuffs of the Guile. And 72% bleeding, 33% poison. These would be really good on my Corsair build also, because he's got the bleeding and poison. But that's a really nice pair. I threw an embodiment of Set's Betrayal from Epic on there because I haven't reached that far to get the legendary one. I'm not in Act 2 yet. But even those are giving me, those are also giving me like 500 damage per second, and a lot of it has to do with that relic on there with that 24 to 30 piercing damage. And then you add in all my plus piercing items, so that and the bleeding, really bringing up some damage. For rings, I threw my Ring of the Shang back on. I do have some legendary rings, but none that are other than good for resistances. So this gives some really good damage too, even though it's an, I picked this up back in normal. And this is a store-bought. I bought this Act 4 Epic, found it in Rhodes on the vendor. And this is actually a nice double affix Hail of the Owl. So I'm getting good strength, health, piercing damage. And then I threw a Hecate's Crescent Legendary on it. I switched out the Epic one I had on there. So that ring, again, that ring is giving me like, well, that's not really accurate, I guess, because without that I can't wear this. But I'm probably getting a good 500 damage from that also. Alright, so that's my setup. Let's do a little bit of, let's do a Hydra run and just do a little bit of killing. So normally when I'm farming Hydra, I would just run past all this stuff. And it's particularly easy with this because I have great run speed. I'm not quite maxed out. Movement, oh, I am maxed out, 166. I didn't realize, I must have put something on that put me at the cap. So it's really easy to get by all this. But just for the sake of showing the build, I'm going to fight my way through there. See, this would be an okay place actually to throw a monster lure because there's a lot of ranged attackers out here. But I'm going to go through a little quicker than that. See, when that Warwind works, it works great. The problem is a lot of times it doesn't work. Still have to take some energy potions every now and then. I'm not even going to bother picking that bow up. Alright, let's throw down a lure. Let's see if they go. A couple of them went after it. See, that time the Warwind missed. You can see it went off. It's on cooldown, but it didn't hit anything. And that's pretty annoying when that happens. So during doing this run, and I've farmed him well, over an hour at least, and I found like 3 Staff of the Magi's on the way through here, right around in this pack. A lot of times there's a Hero Satyr in here. So if you need a Staff of the Magi, it's a pretty good place to look for it. I don't have any kind of heal on hit, and my health regen's not that high, so I do have to take health potions here and there, even against trash. As a robe, I'm kind of surprised that dropped on legendary, because I think that might be epic. I could even be on normal. So I got slowed by one of these things here. But we're going to get out to Hydra, and you'll see why this is a great boss killer. A little slow on packs because you got to run around, do them one by one. But really good on strong single targets. Sometimes my study prey doesn't get off like I want it to either, it has a delay. Alright, so usually what I'll do with Hydra is I'll get the Ancestral Warriors out, throw down a battle standard, and put up Call to Hunt. Now, study prey lasts for 8 seconds, and I can usually have him dead before study prey wears off. Alright, so let's get ready. Let's put that up there, and I'll take a energy just in case I can't get my spells off. So study prey's still up. It just wore off, so that probably took me like 9 or 10 seconds, but if you get in there right, don't miss any attacks, you can get them down in about 8 seconds. And Typhon's not going to last much longer than him. So this is a really strong boss killer. I picked up an Eye of Flame. Another thing is you can get a lot from him is you can get tons of these Act 1 relics. I've actually started selling them to the vendor. I was picking up so many of them. Okay, so that might be the last update here. I might possibly do something, around the end of the game, but I'm not sure yet. Right now, things aren't going to change much. I'll probably pick up some more gear, but things are going to go like that, and it's been pretty easy. So this is a really solid build and has good survivability also. You should try to at least get some halfway decent resistances. They don't have to be maxed out, but you don't want to be negative. So that's bad there. There's going to be some tough bleeding damage later in the game. So if you're doing the build, I hope it's working out well for you, and Hydra is a good place to get geared up to press on to the tougher acts. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in another build update. Probably do the Corsair here soon.